Hey guys, this is the Smuts
Spice
and Everything Life podcast. We're your host. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Marie. And today we are going to discuss the book Still Beating by Jennifer Hartmann. It is a contemporary romance fiction. I listened to the book. Chelsea listened and read along with the book. Let's see. This is tough for us. I rated this 4-star read. It's a must read.
No, I disagree. Don't fucking read it.
It's a must read.
No.
But Spicy Chili Peppers, I gave it a 2.5 because it was beautifully written and it was a beautiful story. And their scenes were intense, but I mentally couldn't get there because of the trauma that they went through. In saying that, this is a warning for anybody before you start listening to this podcast. Warning, warning, warning. Triggers, triggers, triggers. Do not listen if you are sensitive to rape, if you're sensitive to
Kidnapping,
if you're sensitive to aggression, all just that stuff. Don't listen to this because this is pretty much what Still Beating is in regards to. So there's a lot of triggers. So if you are a victim or if you know somebody or if you have those types of triggers, do not listen to this podcast and do not read this book. Now, let's go forward into this book. How was the pace for you? How was the pace of this book?
The pace was fine, but I wish it had been quicker in the beginning. Especially through their trauma scenes, personally for me, because I became so triggered that I had to put it down because I was literally having anxiety.
Which you have my messages when I was reading. I thought that it was like a quick pace walk. Quickly walking with some sprints.
Right. Just the way it was written, I get that.
Yeah, so I felt like it was a brisk walk with some sprinting action here and there, but for the most part, it wasn't slow. I felt like it was steadily went. There wasn't a time where I was like, oh my gosh, just get it over with.
Yeah, the scene is taking forever.
Yes. So I felt like it was well written and it did flow very well. But, I understand, like you said, all of that. I understand the storyline. I get why the author Jennifer did it like that, though, because of the reaction that you and I both had. If she would have done it fast, we wouldn't have had this emotional connection to them. We wouldn't be where we had to pause and take breaks.
The emotional damage that I suffered throughout this book is unmatched. I don't cry when I read books. The last time I cried reading a book was The Fault in Our Stars when I was in high school.
Wow.
I don't cry when I read books. And I bawled reading this book and wanted to bawl the entire fucking book. The entire fucking book.
We are struggling to do this podcast.
This is not a smut podcast. This is a serious book review on this traumatic
experience
that
we have while reading this traumatic experience that these characters went through. I know when the book first started, I immediately loved Dean. He was an asshole, but I immediately loved him. I was like, oh, he's going to be fun. You were like...
I was like, oh, he's an ass. What the hell?
I kind of like him.
I didn't like... Immediately, I didn't like Cora, though. I felt she was over the top.
I felt like she was... Cora and Mandy both seemed like they were self-absorbed little brats.
Agreed. Backtracking... Did anyone else catch the Sam and Dean supernatural reference at the very beginning? Because I immediately was like, the Winchesters.
And later on she puts it in
there. I was like, yes! Yes!
Nailed it! I caught it too. I didn't catch that at first, but...
I looked at you and I was like, Sam and Dean?
Yeah. And then I was like, oh yeah! I didn't get it though. Okay, so... They're at the bar. They're talking whatever. Cora hates Dean, and Dean is just loving it because he thinks it's the funniest damn thing in the world. Dean is engaged to Cora's sister Mandy, and they are going to be getting married. Was it November or December?
I want to say December 5th or 6th or something.
Okay, so they were going to be getting married soon. But they're at the bar celebrating Mandy's birthday. Mm-hmm. And Cora decides to stay. Mandy and Dean leave. and all the friends or whoever's there, they all leave. So Cora's there by herself. And she's getting drunker and drunker and drunker. And she's talking to this guy. She's starting to get sober and realizing this guy is a loser. So she's like, I'm done. I'm ready to go. She goes out getting ready to go into the car or Uber or whatever. She doesn't have her wallet. And then
she calls everyone and nobody answers.
Well, I love it that she goes, when she realizes her wallet is gone, she goes back in.
Oh, right.
She goes back into the...
Did you see my wallet?
No, she didn't say that. She yeah, she did say that, but she was a straight bitch. You stole my wallet. Did you steal my wallet?
She just went straight to accusing. I
feel
like it wasn't like,
where's my wallet?
Have you seen someone take it out of my purse while we've been talking?
And she's like, I was with you all night, or I was talking to you all night. And he's like, yeah, exactly. I was talking to you all night. When did I
have time to even reach in your purse?
And he calls her a bitch. And then she gets offended. If you're gonna act like a bitch, you're gonna get called a bitch. You're a bitch. Whether it's a man calling you a bitch or a female calling you a bitch. If you're a bitch, you're gonna get called a bitch. And guess what? She was a bitch. And I would have called her a bitch too. So Stinky Earl's outside. And she says he smells like... So she goes back outside waiting for... Y'all know the story. So she goes back outside, and Stinky Earl's out there. She goes, he smells like carrots. I'm sorry why... I don't understand why this bothers me. But it does. Of all the vegetables that Jennifer could have chose, of all of the vegetables that stink, I'm hung up on the carrots. I know, okay? Carrots don't have that strong of an odor to me.
I mean, they don't.
But
the fact that you're
I am so hung up on
it. It's like, I'm just like, oh, it smells like carrots, whatever, okay.
So he didn't smell like anything? I don't get it. He's like broccoli. Broccoli smells like ass. Let's go with broccoli. He smelled like broccoli.
Ow.
You ain't jogging. Why you got a stitch? I'm just saying, I'm really hung up on the carrots. Come on it, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't get it. Again, out of all the stinky vegetables, asparagus are not stinky.
Can we move on from the vegetables?
Brussels sprouts. Anyways, we could have chose a different vegetable is all I'm saying. And it was brought up multiple times in the book. It's not just me.
I know, yeah, you're right. I mean, she was hung up on the carrots.
I think Jennifer's sensitive to carrots. I think Jennifer Hartmann has a thing for carrots, and not a good thing. I don't think she likes carrots very much. I felt like there was something, obviously, to do with Stinky Earl. I felt like there was going to be something, but I was not anticipating that car.
I didn't expect anything until you were like, something's up with Earl. Actually, you were calling him Stinky Bob, so you were like, something's up with Stinky Bob. I'm like, oh, you think something's gonna happen with you?
And then the cop showed up.
But it wasn't even a cop, and they thought it was a cop. Yeah, the lights.
And I turned to you and I said, Stinky Bob. It's Stinky Bob. It's Stinky Bob.
You did. And I was like,
I was right. It was Stinky Earl.
It was Stinky Earl, a.k.a. Stinky Bob.
That must have been a very intense scene. So Dean is in the driver's seat. She's in the passenger seat. My reaction, I think, would have been to put that car in drive and go.
Yeah. If she even drive the car, he will let me go or he'll break her neck.
She was already halfway out of the car. Remember, he's trying to pull her back in. He's like, if I let you go, yeah, he's going to snatch you out.
Which probably would have happened, honestly.
I mean, she was a petite girl. They mentioned that she was on the petiter side, so she's skinnier, and he had her. And Dean wasn't letting her go. And so he's like, no, I'm not letting you go, whatever. But I think that window crashing, I would have put it in drive and go, which I say this now.
Yeah, like immediately. Like, you wouldn't have had time to get in the car.
No.
I would have drove. You're right. Absolutely. 100%.
Which, I mean, we say that because it's easy to sit there and say this, not in the heat of the moment. But I feel like, I would hope in the heat of the moment, I would book it.
Right.
Put that car back in drive and book it.
Just drive.
It wouldn't have mattered because Stinky Earl would have got her anyways because he had her wallet, he had her...
He knew where she lived.
Yeah, he knew everything about her.
She was like, if you had just drove, we would be in our warm beds right now.
How pissed off did that make you? It made me furious.
Well, it pissed me off because if she had left with him in the first place, Stinky Earl would have never even knew she was there.
I didn't even think about that. Yes!
But she was all like, he's the last person I want to be in the car with. Just go home.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Her obsession with hatred towards Dean bothered me. Because Dean did not have that towards her. He messed with her, but he didn't vehemently hate her.
Yeah, it was over the top.
Vehemently?
Here we go.
Is it vehemently or vehemently? I think it's vehemently.
I hate you trying to use big words to sound smart.
It's one of those words.
Don't start with the Amish again.
Homage. To pay homage. HOMAGE. I was there. I just wasn't there. I knew what I was saying.
You were all over it. You just couldn't get it.
It was a circle. It was a circle that did not connect. It was a circle that was like right there.
So close.
There's no connection.
No, but don't remember where we were. Moving on.
How sweet was it when he was singing? And like she made it out to be like such like.
And she even was like, I remember when Dean would sing at our family get-togethers, and I would just glare at him. And now you're asking him to sing for you? Oh, did you secretly like him?
Yes.
Even though he bullied you?
Well, remember at the very end, she says when she walked in sophomore year and saw him and they had that eye connection, she's like, I thought he could have been my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was...
And then he decided to pick on her, because apparently that's what boys do. Did you expect him to already be in love with her?
Yes.
I kind of did. I was like, is this the guy? This can't be the guy. Her sister's fiance? This can't be the guy.
I felt like it because Dean had more reactions towards Cora. He was more invested in Cora than he was with Mandy. He was talking to Cora, or he would mess with her all the time, like tease her all the time, when Mandy was just kind of like a background.
He had been with Mandy for 15 years, and he was going to marry her. And he's always been in love with Cora.
But, like he said, it was familiar.
Mandy was familiar.
Yes.
I get it. But familiar and in love are...
Oh, I agree. But when Cora's a bitch and
well,
you
he
can't
bullied
do
her.
nothing, she did it back to him.
I know, but dang.
And Dean thought it was all in good fun. He's like, you like it. And she's like, no, I don't like it, Dean. I wanted to slap her, chained up and all.
Wrong.
I know that was wrong. Sorry. I knew it was a book. No, you're not real. Just saying. But she pissed me off down there.
Even when he would confess something, she would hold back. Let it out.
Yes.
Just let it out.
I am so glad you didn't hit me with that. No, same. Same. I felt the same way. Like, get over it.
When he said he thought that he would take it to his grave, and he was saying, I saw you first, and he thought he would take that to his grave,
And she said nothing.
Nothing. She said nothing!
He's like pouring himself out to you, and you say nothing. He gives you everything, and you take it and give nothing.
Cora pisses me off on another level. Almost as much as Mandy, but we'll get into that later. On to the trauma that is.
Did you see that coming? When Stinky Earl said, you'll have your
fun.
You'll have your fun too.
I didn't until you were like, he made her. When you texted me, she's like, he just raped her. Oh God, you're texting me. He's making them have sex.
Because it's a difference. Stinky Earl raped Cora, but he made them have sex. There's a difference.
He raped Cora first.
Yes.
So that Dean probably would be more inclined to, so that she didn't have to be raped by him over and over.
I feel like not so much Dean, but Cora. He would make Cora more inclined. Because why would you want me when you can have this other victim?
Yeah.
And his freaking psychoness to make them fall in love, only to watch them torture them to kill them.
Oh my God. That's so fucked up. I didn't see that coming. Like
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see him being, quote unquote, the matchmaker. That took me. Like,
it did me, dude.
I was like, wow, that's fucked up. And then he gets off on it, which made me...
He masturbates watching them.
I was literally sick to my stomach every time they had to have sex. Every time he was like, the kitten loves that.
And Dean, oh my gosh, Dean telling Cora,
I'd rather die.
No, Dean telling Cora, listen to my voice. It's only me here. You listen to me. And she gets lost in Dean while she is being forced.
I was so scared that it was going to be descriptive. I'm so glad she just was like, while I'm being defiled, Dean is keeping me...
I am sensitive when it comes to rape and stuff like that. I'm very sensitive. And I almost didn't finish because of it. So I am very grateful that Jennifer didn't go into details.
Even though it wasn't detailed, it was still hard as
no, it was
to get through.
It made you have feelings that you are not prepared to have. And again, I almost didn't finish it because I don't like rape.
Could you imagine being Dean and having to watch?
No, I couldn't. I couldn't imagine that. And him sitting there saying, like you just said, I'd rather die. I'd rather die. Because he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to do that to her.
Yeah, he doesn't want to force himself upon her. And she's like, I'd rather it be you than him. But I can't imagine that. I just mentally, I just can't. I wouldn't want to. I don't want to imagine it. Because I can't.
I love that he would keep his hand on her wrist to keep her grounded, to keep her focused on anything else. There are just the little things that
he did.
And then she, after everything's over, she has this anxiety itch and claws herself to death. To the point of scars. Where he would hold her. Like it was a phantom, not pain.
See, I didn't realize that. I thought it was just from the cuffs.
I mean, it could have been, but that's how I took it. I thought it was just the one wrist she always scratched.
Oh. See, I didn't even think about it like that. I just thought about the wrists because of the fact that she couldn't get out of it. But, I mean, I get why you thought that too. What's your opinion? How did y'all take that?
Their last scene of being forced.
Oh my gosh.
You wanted it so bad for them, but at the same time it was like that disgusting prick is watching.
And then he claps at them. Oh my gosh. It's almost time because he knew that they were falling
in love. And then his belt buckle thing falls off and Dean gets her out.
Look, that scene gave me heart palpitations. Because
the whole book gave me heart palpitations. I'm like, stop fucking around in the house.
I've got to give it, like, being in that mindset.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that back.
She honestly didn't know he was there. She thought she had more time. And I get that. And then she's like, I need to get Dean out. It
would have been so hard to leave him.
Oh my gosh.
I would have kissed him before I left.
Something.
Yeah, I know she hugged him, but...
And he accepted his fate. I don't, for a minute, think he thought that he was going to survive.
He wanted her to get out.
Yeah. Because he's like, it's okay, just go. Just go. It's okay. Go get help. And she screwed around the house and, was looking at the calendar and realized that, about 22 days. They had about 22 days. And they were on day 20. And she gets out and she even said it later that if she would have went the other door, she would have survived. She went the wrong door. And she gets out there. Here's the thing. She's outside. She's looking around. And then she starts running. And then Fat Stinky Earl catches her.
Out of nowhere. Where are you running? Out in the open? You not see him?
Okay. My thoughts. That were my thoughts. How? What? Huh?
The anxiety I felt when he grabbed her.
I felt like something was coming, though. Like, she was running. And I was like, there's too many chapters. Something's gonna happen.
And then he beat the hell out of her.
Like, beat. He wasn't described as muscular. He wasn't described as fit.
Fat.
He wasn't described
disgusting.
Yes. He was described as a older, fat, stanky guy.
You gotta have some kind of muscles to kidnap two people, dismember them, and do whatever that... Where did Dean's car go? How did he make that disappear?
I don't know, but he did it 11 times prior.
As with his other victims.
But they were in the middle of nowhere, so there's no telling. He could have had a car lot full of abandoned, squished down cars for all we know. Because he said, I need to make a car disappear. So I have like ADHD, and my thing is that I love the idea of living in the middle of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody around you. But then I read stuff like this, and it's like, one house close by wouldn't be bad. Yeah. One house within jogging distance wouldn't be bad.
Like, please? Because I don't want to die out there alone. Well, ain't nobody around to even call.
You think, like, when you do drive past a house and it's like,
creepy.
Are they psychos?
Right?
What do they do?
Why are you out here alone?
Yeah. So
she gets caught. He beats the hell out of her.
And we know it's done. Like, he's fixing to kill him.
Yeah. He didn't even feed him after that.
Yeah. For 2 days, right? But he lets them brush their teeth.
Why did he let them brush their teeth?
And the turkey. When Mandy tries to give Dean the turkey sandwich afterwards, or the turkey afterwards.
He was like, is this turkey? Yeah, you love turkey. No,
I used to like turkey.
No, bitch. He doesn't.
But again, they didn't tell anybody what all they experienced either. Which,
neither of them even told their therapist.
No, she.
No, she didn't.
I thought she told her therapist.
I don't think she did. I'm pretty sure she said.
No, she told her therapist. He didn't, because he even said, did you talk to your therapist about it? And she said, yeah. And he said, did you tell her everything? Or tell whoever everything? And she said, yes. And he's like, well, at least she's getting the help that she needs.
I didn't get that, but maybe.
Well, shit, now I'm going to have to go back.
Don't do it.
It's not worth it. Did I just make that up in my head?
No.
Did I make that up? Did y'all read it?
I thought that she told him yes, and then there was an after remark where it made me think she didn't tell her absolutely everything.
Maybe.
So after she attempts to escape, and they have sex one last time.
He unhooks Dean, the gun to his head, makes them have sex, and then he's fixing to kill Dean because Dean's getting mouthy and starts going off, you're disgusting, you're a pig, you'll never have anybody, blah, 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 just going off, getting him riled up. And Cora knew, why are you doing this? You're going to die. And she couldn't take it, so then she does the high-pitched girl scream. You all know what I'm saying. We all have that in us. And for a split second, that's all it took Earl to turn around, and Dean took that chance and didn't stop.
Did you see that coming? Like, did you think that's how they were going to get out?
Prior to that scene, I didn't think that was how they were going to get out. During that scene, I was like, he's going to beat him to death.
Agreed. I had no idea how they were going to get out.
And I was also thinking, why didn't you try to manhandle him before when you were unchained? Like, you could have been doing some actions, and you could have took that gun while he was yanking off.
Right? He kicked the gun. I would have picked it up and shot his ass.
Yeah. Well, he was in that fit of a rage. I can kind of see that. Like, he was seeing red, and all he thought about was Cora and him touching her and defiling her and all that. So
he was majorly affected after he realized that he had killed him.
Yeah.
Cora's like, uncuff me, like, get me out of here.
Cora's like, he's dead, Dean. He's dead. He's dead.
Right,
he's dead. Get me out of here. And it snaps him out of it. And he realizes what he's done. And there's bone and brain matter and everything spewing all over. He can't clean his hands.
Oh. And then he cleans his hands to the point where his hands are bleeding.
That stung. I had tears from that. You already endured so much. And then the fact that you killed him, like, yes, he's not going to jail. He's not getting the death penalty. You're not getting justice, but you did. You killed him. But I don't fully think that justice was served when it comes to him. Because he didn't, he got beat to death and he died. But there was no justice for all those victims. And Dean being the one that had the physical blood on his hands, that's hard. He had no face left. They had to get dental records
to identify him.
And then he was arrested because they had to see whether it was premeditated or what he meant to do it or whatever. It's like, do you see the state of him?
Right?
Okay, where did the cops, ambulance, and media, all three, come from?
I was like, did I miss something? Because
I felt like they were downstairs, they walked out the door, and the ambulance were coming.
She did eventually spot a phone.
Yeah, when they were fighting, because she tried, Earl and her were fighting.
I was like, did she go upstairs and call the cops? Because I don't know, like, what I was doing during this time. I was like, did I miss that?
I don't know. I kind of felt like, did she hit that other one? Because remember she said 9-1, and then she said, I didn't get that other one before he started beating me, pulling me by my hair and yanking me down. I was like,
that the same day?
No, that was 2 days prior.
Next day. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
I was so confused. Anyway.
But again, regardless, I understand cops. I don't understand the ambulance, and I don't understand the media. Because cops are going to come out. Then ambulance are going to come out, and the media is not going to be until days later when you're in the hospital.
Or they're investigating the crime scene, yeah.
So, cops, ambulance, and media all at the same time? Did you call the news stations? Be like, hey, we were kidnapped by a serial killer. Come and take pictures of us in this horrible scene as it unfolds because we're fixing to kill him.
Yeah, I didn't understand any of it.
That to me was...
She runs out the door.
The editor should have caught that.
I'm thinking, they're gonna shoot you. Stop running out the door. And then he comes out and carries her. I'm like, they're gonna shoot both of you.
My thing, I don't think they would have shot her because she's a female and she didn't have
him
but
more so. That's what I was, yeah.
Because he is covered in blood. And she is in a t-shirt covered in blood that barely covers anything and oversized shoes. So yeah, they're gonna rescue her and then they're gonna be like, you on the ground or bam bam.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I tried not to.
It was a lot. This whole book had me in all kinds of feels that I didn't think I was gonna feel. And my heart, from the moment that car pulled over to the moment that the ambulance showed up, I was in a whirlwind of emotions.
Same. It didn't stop there with the ambulance.
No,
for
I'm
me.
talking about for the, like,
yeah,
are they going to survive?
Are they going to live?
Yeah. And then we're past the, I can't breathe because my adrenaline is so up, to I can't breathe because I don't understand what's happening, like, to help them recover.
Right.
Like, somebody help them.
When I'm thinking about them recovering, I'm thinking, I don't know how you even come back from that. I don't know what you even need to recover. All I know is that if I was Cora, you couldn't have peeled me off of Dean.
No.
And then they didn't see each other for a week. Mandy's like, I didn't think Cora's coming for dinner.
Dean didn't want to see Cora.
No, he didn't.
Because which it tells you later, that Dean felt like what he did to Cora, that he raped her.
And she never
and took advantage of her. And he was so absorbed in his own mind that he did wrong by her, that he didn't want to face her. He didn't want to see her. And that hurt Cora, because Cora was like, we were together and you never reached out to me. And she's like, and then you didn't want me here tonight whenever they went to dinner at the parents' house. And Mandy was like, you told me Cora wasn't going to be here. And she said, her mom was like, well, I didn't know, and something last minute, and she showed up. And that hurt Cora, because it's like, we were together. We were together for 3 weeks, and you didn't want to see me while she's also trying to recover?
I would have not been able to go back home by myself. I would have not left I would have been with my parents. If I couldn't have been with Dean, I would have been with my parents. You couldn't have locked me in my house by myself.
No,
I wouldn't have wanted to be alone.
Definitely not. And I guess maybe in their mind, he's dead and they know it. So they were able to be, but even at that, I don't feel like a person could look at me without me thinking something.
It's not that, I think he's going to come for me. Like, I know he's dead. I have to deal with this anxiety on my own. I would be having panic attacks nonstop, I feel like. Just reliving it.
And I think they did, but both of them were so traumatized by what they were forced to do. And Mandy was right in the middle of it, Neither one of them wanted to face the fact that they developed those feelings. Earl did exactly what he planned to do, and they fell in love. Earl didn't know the significance of their relationship prior to, and the fact that they already had feelings for each other. But
I was going to say, I think it was a little easier for Dean because he had those admitted feelings to himself prior to everything, but Cora never did. So it was harder for her. But what killed me was Mandy at dinner saying something about the pregnancy. First of all, the pregnancy shocked me.
It didn't.
It shocked me and it didn't. Because when they're in the basement and she's being raped and they're having sex, I'm like, I wonder if she's on birth control. But even if she is, she hasn't taken it in a month, so she's probably going to be pregnant after this. And then she was, and I was thankful for her and myself, because of my emotional trauma, that she didn't have to go have a D&C or abortion or whatever, that her body had already miscarried, because that would have been hard. Trying to decide, which she had already made up her mind, she was going to have an abortion if the pregnancy had been viable, because she, even if it was Dean's baby, she didn't want a baby born out of trauma like that.
And that
would be a very
touchy thing for me.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't, and this is personally, don't come at me. I personally don't agree with it. And I understand that there are so many vast reasonings behind why one would get it. Whether it be medically, whether it be personal, or whatever. Like, I know there's reasons why people get them. I don't agree with them. That is my personal opinion. I'm not going to judge you for doing it. I just don't think I would have done it personally. I know I wouldn't have done it. Would I have kept the baby, though? That's my thing. I don't know if I would have kept the baby because of the trauma. And it wouldn't be fair to that child, because every time I looked at that child, it would trigger the trauma. And I would hope to say that I could see past that, and that maybe if I prayed hard enough for it, I could see past that, because I would want to. But if I couldn't, I would do everything possible to make sure that baby went to a loving home, because it's not that baby's fault.
That's another route that wasn't even mentioned, but you make a good point. I personally feel like that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. But me, myself, I wouldn't have the heart to do it at the end of the day. But like you said, if I could give that baby up for an adoption in a wonderful home, yeah.
I don't know if I could have kept the baby.
But I was thankful that she wrote 100%. It as she had the miscarriage.
I don't even know if Earl, and I wish they would have said something. Like, I don't know if Earl even could have kids because of, prior, the other person that came out that got to escape, that Earl let go.
It wasn't her, it wasn't his, it was
Matthews.
It was Matthews. It could have been, I'm looking way too far in this, but it could have been that Earl raped her early in the month, and then later on she was ovulating and Earl wasn't touching her anymore.
I mean, Earl was like 56 or 50-something years old, so he very well could have had a vasectomy at this point, or just because he's so nasty, just couldn't have kids, hopefully. But regardless, it's irrelevant because the baby didn't survive, so it doesn't matter. And it's because of Earl the baby didn't survive when he was beating the shit out of her and kicking her. That's what she speculated, that Earl kicked her into a miscarriage.
Why?
I was just fixing to go into it.
Mandy?
So, yes. I'm on the same wavelength, because, yeah.
Why is Mandy oblivious to the fact that Cora and Dean came out with a bond like no other? Why would you not expect them to be bonded in some way? Mandy, why are you a bitch?
I can't fucking stand her. I'm trying to be patient with you. I don't care if they were in there for 2 days, let alone 3 weeks.
She literally says, you were only there 3 weeks. 3 weeks is a fucking lifetime.
You were only down in that basement for 3 weeks. What the hell do you think? Do you think we were painting canvases down there?
What the fuck? It's not funny, but this.
What the fuck do you think they were doing down there?
Right.
You know your sister was raped down there. You know that Dean was in there together with her.
You know that he was a serial killer. Even if she hadn't been raped, even if whatever, he was a serial killer, and they were going to die. They were each other's lifeline.
I have such strong feelings towards Mandy. It is undeniable.
I have never read about such a selfish character.
Oblivious to her selfishness.
Oh.
oblivious.
And Cora's over here like, I'm an awful person. No, you're not. I'm sorry, but you have a right to have bonded with him. You have a right to have fallen in love with him. And to me, honestly, you have a right to him after that.
Look, I
said what I said.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm torn about this because, one, Mandy, nor the parents, nor the therapist, nobody knows what fully happened down there because they wouldn't tell anybody.
Mm-mm.
So, you give them that much of a leeway. Like, I'll give them that much. You don't know the full extent of what happened down there, so you can't actually justify the full reaction because they don't know what truly happened. Only what's being told. And neither one of them wants you to talk about it because they both feel ashamed because of Mandy. Now, for Mandy to sit there and tell Dean he's had 6 weeks to get over the incidents and the trauma.
Oh my God.
Because he stops her hand from progressing higher onto his groin because he doesn't want to be intimate with her. First off, somebody who experienced whether or not she knows the depth of what Dean went through. The fact that you know Dean witnessed it, okay? Dean witnessed your sister being raped repeatedly by this filthy creature. If he doesn't want to be intimate for 5 fucking years, you stand by him. You get yourself a good deal. You get what you need. And you freaking support that man who was there for your sister. But instead, you are constantly trying to push both of them and act like it is time to get over it.
It's cool. You've had 6 weeks to get over, being kidnapped, being raped, almost being killed, being held captive.
But it is so easy for an outsider. You have to say that when you're not the one experiencing that, or if you're dealing with somebody who has went through an experience and you're trying to be that support system for them, it is really, really difficult. You have to be a strong person and you have to be a patient person. Because if you're not, then
there has to be a part of you that understands that they may never be the same. They may never.
I'm trying to be patient with you, Dean, because I love you. Excuse you? And then you're wanting to have parties, and you're still trying to get him to go to bars. And then Cora, you're doing the same thing to Cora, pushing her into men. She was fucking raped. You know this.
It was
Mandy.
Yeah, she wanted to set her up with their friend who Dean didn't even like.
Dean
decided he didn't like him.
Yeah, he decided before he even remembered the guy, and then afterwards he's like, yeah, I don't like him. I was right. But it's like you already had the notion that you did not like him.
The lack thereof support system that these two had is
made my heart hurt.
Incredibly sad.
Yes. I give it to Lily, though. Lily, I mean, she had her times too where she did try to push her.
She did too much.
But she supported her, and she was her rock. She did tell her, you have to get out there. Now, whether it was with a guy or whatever, she tried to be, funny. She tried to lighten the mood for Cora, and it did help.
Think about all the triggers they had. She was at a party that night, at a bar. Men, in general. Anyone, especially ones you don't know, being tied up.
Kitten.
I was just about to say that. Ugh.
What about the guy at the bar that even called her kitten? And he didn't take any social cues.
No.
Forced her onto the dance floor.
And he knew what had happened to her.
The way he said it, it was almost like he knew the kitten. Because the way he said it to her,
I thought something was going to come out of that. Like I
did
too. That he was going to have had something to do with it.
I thought he was Earl's son. I'm not even going to lie. I was like, is he going to try to kidnap her? And
that's what I thought.
Are we going to find out that he's Earl's son? Because he gives off this creepy pedo vibe too. Not pedo, but creepy stalker, psycho vibe.
He did. I was going to say he was creepy. And then Lily goes out with him.
Yeah, well.
Must be going to be a book about her.
Lily did come back.
I'm not reading it. So.
Lily did come back. We know Lily's in the book. But
I know.
Yeah. Can we talk about the fact that Mandy decides to throw the party at the same fucking bar? The same bar.
She is literally so
self-absorbed
and just not.
She doesn't care about anybody but herself.
No.
Okay, y'all have had 6 weeks, or y'all have had 2 months, or whatever. It's time to get over it. Let's party!
Let's get over it.
Let's go to a double date to the same bar that we were kidnapped at, because that sounds smart.
That sounds like a great time.
That's not going to give me PTSD at all.
She's a bitch, and I don't like her.
I fucking can't stand Mandy. Then it all, whatever. Dean going to see his mom just made me cry. Like, that was so... My grandfather had dementia, and that is really, really hard to deal with. Your grandfather is dealing with that now. There's not words that can express the hardship that takes on someone to see them.
What broke me was he would talk to her because he needed someone to talk to. Someone that was just going to listen. And even though he didn't really think she was listening and absorbing, but she was.
And then her comment.
And she said, I'm crying. She says, every love story is worth writing, no matter how messy it might be.
I wish I could read yours.
I'd like to read your book.
Oh my gosh. This is freaking Mama Asher. Damn. Oh. And then her door being empty. I can't. Y'all, I can't.
Other than Mandy being a bitch during their recovery period.
There's more to her, but we're gonna pause on her for right now.
Oh yeah, there's way more to Mandy later. The way they leaned on each other
secretly
because
they couldn't do it around people who were sad.
Mm-hmm. And then
I say people, Mandy. They couldn't do it around Mandy. I'm bringing her back in. And reason for everything.
Even it was innocent. It was so innocent. They were fighting their feelings, but it was so innocent. They would just sleep together, and it seemed like the nights that they would stay together were the only nights they'd sleep peacefully. And bless him, Dean,
they would text and talk to each other
on the phone
every night
until they fell asleep. And it was kind of up until that point that Dean really heavily was very close to being an alcoholic.
I think he was, because that was the only numbing that he had. But that was the only way he self-medicated through alcohol, because he wasn't being truthful with his therapist.
Yeah.
And then neither was she, and she was popping them pills like Tic Tacs just to get some relief.
You could tell when he was starting to do better. He wasn't drinking, he wasn't smoking.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still going to Cora, but that was also in part just his feelings.
I think that's when he started doing better, because they were doing better because of each other. No, I take back. Dean was doing better because
of each other.
Of Cora and them leaning on each other. Cora was being eaten alive by guilt from Mandy.
That's what was hindering her.
Yes.
That is the only thing that was hindering her from recovering.
Yes, I think so too.
Oh, let's not forget this. The Christmas gift. First of all, of Mice and Men. That was hilarious.
Yes.
But also, his Christmas gift.
I didn't think you would notice.
And then she actually gave him the real book, and he was like, holy shit, this is a real gift. But he gets her that locket. It tore me up.
Quote.
As
it's
much
not
as
even
it's
just
mentioned.
a locket.
No,
she opens it.
I know.
As long as it's still beating, you're okay.
And then it's mentioned so many times.
Freaking falling.
Every time it's mentioned, it kills me.
And she never took it off. Well,
until.
Yeah. She held on to that until she didn't.
Yeah.
But he left it for her. And she never took it off.
That's when I bawled. Cora did not heal because of her guilt. I get her hesitance when she says, is this real? Like, is this real love, or is this, he made me love you?
The guy got a name as a matchmaker for a reason.
Right, and that spun her.
It did.
Like, I get why she was in such turmoil. How could you not? It gave me whiplash.
Mm-hmm.
How much she went back and forth. I was feeling so sorry for the man.
Dean, he is the epitome of the perfect man, as patient as he was with her, and as much abuse that he took from her. Because I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't have put up with the shit.
That second time, I'd been like, okay, like, I can't do this. I need a yes or a no. Like, I get Mandy is a bitch, and I get she's your sister, but people get over things. Time heals many things.
But Mandy is a selfish, self-absorbed bitch.
Even after he breaks up with Mandy, and she's like, this is because of me. No. Dean made that decision, and then even told you, even if you don't want me, I'm not going back to her.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was.
And her comment, we'll see.
Rude as fuck.
I can't. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. I don't like using the word hate, but I hated Mandy. I freaking hated her. And I'm not going to lie. Cora, I didn't like her too much either.
Cora pissed me off a lot.
Like, even
just the way she treated Dean throughout the entire book.
Pre, during, post trauma.
Yes.
She pissed me off. She pissed me off before it, she pissed me off during it, and she pissed me off after it. She just pissed me off in general. And Dean freaking is an amazing guy. Amazing.
I didn't.
Why he couldn't take a 56-year-old man, I don't really know.
Yeah, that was not connecting with for me either. The thing that gets me is right before she has the encounter with Mandy. They have sex that night. He's like, you're mine. She's like, yes, I'm yours. And then she wakes up and she's so freaking frigid towards him.
They don't have sex until after he breaks up with Mandy.
I just talked about him breaking up with Mandy. I said he broke up with Mandy and told Cora even if he wasn't going to be with Cora, he was going to break up with Mandy.
Oh, I know, but I thought she went back.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm so... Okay, gotcha. Go ahead.
After they have... they start having sex. On and off. She's like, giving me freaking whiplash. Only during the day does she have guilt. At night, no. Let me go get that dick.
And let me wake up super early and then leave him in the bed.
Oh, my dogs need to be let out.
And then he was like, you know what? I'll just take whatever I can get. I'll take whatever crumbs she gives me.
And that's just setting yourself up for even more heartbreak.
They were sleeping together and Mandy found out. Or she found out they had slept together one time. And then like right after that, Mandy confronted her.
After he leaves and gives her money for the morning after pill.
Yes.
That's the night Mandy comes over.
She was dodging Cora's call.
And then just shows up with Mexican. And she's being a bitch. She has this certain tone about her.
Her self-righteousness to come up and say, what happened? I need to know.
Yes,
I want to know.
You're going to make somebody...
I deserve to know what happened.
You're going to make somebody talk about that?
What happened? And then she tells you that she was forced, that they were forced. And you go off on her? You call her a bitch and all kinds of stuff going off on her? They were forced to do something that they didn't want to do. And you're going to degrade her and
she's going
victimize
to tell
herself?
That you're nothing to me anymore. Our parents are going to disown you. You're the worst person I've ever met or something like that.
I hate you.
I hate you. How can you say that to your sister? How can you say that to your sister who has just went through all this shit? How can you not see that this wasn't her fault?
Beyond over.
So then she overdoses, or she takes all the pills.
Because you have done this to her. You pushed her to this. That she feels like she is worthless and deserves death.
Did you see the suicide attempt coming?
I
didn't.
I didn't really see it coming until, like, obviously they were on the phone and she's acting all weird. And I was like, she took pills. Yeah. She's fixing to kill herself.
When he was like, something's wrong, and he wanted to go over there, I knew something had happened.
When she called acting drunk, I was like, I automatically was like, you're not drunk. You took a pill. Something's going on. But I didn't see it coming, no.
So, in the hospital, Mandy's interaction with her pissed me off even more.
Well, then even after that, the ice cream.
I know. Okay, but in the hospital, I'm glad you're not dead. He would never want you to die. Whatever she said.
Don't ever do that again. We're still not okay, and I still don't forgive you.
But we're still not okay, and I haven't forgiven you yet?
Again, you are playing a victim to something that you have no right for. You have no right to play the victim. You can be hurt. You can be hurt. I completely get that you were hurt, Mandy. 100%, 1,000%. I get that you were hurt, Mandy. However, it was not their fault. They were forced into something that they both didn't want. So for you to sit there and say that they're wrong for doing that, but yet you would cry if they were both dead. I didn't think it would happen because y'all hated each other. They were forced to do this. They were forced to. But let's victimize this. Let's go ahead and victimize you because poor you got your feelings hurt because your fiance slept with your sister. First off, your fiance saved your sister's life. Okay? He saved her life by sticking his pecker inside of her. Now, whether or not something evolved from that, get over it. At least they're both in your life. You have every right to be hurt about it, yes. But that they had each other. That's all they had down there.
Yes. And them making Dean leave because it would make Mandy uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
I would have not left.
I would say that she can get the hell over it.
Right?
And this is besides the point, but I'm just gonna say it. The dog made me cry.
Is her adopting the dog?
No. Blizzard dying.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, I know.
And then Dean being there.
I was like, not the
I'll
dog.
give you and your boyfriend some time.
Not the dog.
I love the fact that she adopted Stinky Earl's dogs.
I was like...
Because the dogs were abused.
I mean,
they were
yeah.
underfed, and they hung to each other, and nobody else wanted a psycho's dogs.
Okay, yeah. It kind of would have been triggering for me to have his dogs in my house.
I feel like she did it.
Dean was kind of like,
Everybody was. They're like, why did you adopt them? But she was like, they were malnourished. They were beat, and you could see in their eyes the ordeal that those poor dogs went through. And they deserved love too. And she was like, I deserve love, you deserve love, come, we're gonna love each other. And I was just like, she saved the dogs. I'm so happy she saved the dogs.
Oh my God.
And then Dean was connected to the dogs too. It was full circle. Their circle connected. They connected that circle. It was sweet. I want to backpedal and interrupt you really bad.
What?
Can I?
Sure.
Okay. Can we talk about the first time she goes back to work? She's trying to get back to a normalcy about it, and
right.
She thinks everything's okay, and it's come out that, she's seeing Dean, but not seeing Dean. Nobody really knows for sure, but they know Mandy and Dean are no longer together, so there's just a bunch of small town drama going on. And she's picking her wrist, and she's bleeding. She goes to the bathroom. Nobody knows she's in there. And the bitches of teachers, gossiping little bitches, coming to the bathroom, and they gonna start freaking talking shit about her.
It made me so mad. How do you talk shit about a victim like this?
Oh my, yes.
Who cares if she's with Dean? They went through that together.
Why do we have to keep repeating this? I'm sorry. And then for Cora just to sit there and take it, I feel for her. But again, she is got so much guilt with the whole Mandy thing. Even still, she has so much guilt. And then she comes back afterwards, and it's like, victim, suicide attempt. I felt for her. And I don't know if I could have went back to teaching, of all things.
No, I don't think I could have either. Not after everything. Not going through that.
It was in the news. It's still in the news. Like, that's too much.
I mean, Dean's even sending her, updates and then not sending her updates as well,
because there was
stuff in the case.
Yeah.
And did you expect for a survivor to come through?
No. That
threw me.
Left field.
Yep.
I was like, do what now? And what's sickening is why and how she survived. Mm-hmm. Because she would lock eyes with Earl while it was happening.
She enjoyed it.
I can't imagine
the strength it would take to put forth the effort like that to survive. I
know that the next book. No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's her though. I think that's the boy is the next book. The guy that was in the basement might be. Anyways, one of the books. It might be the next one. I don't know. One of the books is about Tabitha and Matthew. But I would think that Matthew, being older and her teacher, was encouraging her to do that so she would survive. I don't know if that's true. I feel like...
You mean the bonus scene?
Yeah, I feel...
Not the next one, the bonus scene, yeah. We didn't listen to the bonus scene because we had kind of had it up to taller than I am with the trauma. And it probably was about them, but I couldn't.
No, it was about them. There's 2 more books, and one of them is Tabitha and Matthew, but I can't remember if it's the next one or the third one.
There's an actual book about the rest of them?
Yeah.
No.
There's one book about the boy that was in the basement for like 20 years, or locked away or whatever, kidnapped for 20 years. Then there's a book about Tabitha.
Oh.
And Tabitha's either the next one, or the kid, the boy, is the next one. I can't remember which one. But one of them is about them. And I feel like Matthew, which I don't know, again, I'm just talking out my ass, but I feel like Matthew would have encouraged her to do that so she could survive.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's really sad that that's how she...
I couldn't have done that.
But then she was pregnant and it was Matthew's, and she kept it because that was a gift from Matthew. And oh my gosh, I can't do this again.
I was shook when she saw the baby.
Yeah, because it's like, whose baby is
and
that?
And she was like 8 months old. Wow.
My first thought was like, oh my gosh, please don't let it be Earl's. Please don't let it be Earl's.
Same.
And then when she was like, it's Matthew. Was Matthew your... Yes, he was my professor, and we had looks, but nothing ever went further because obviously that's taboo and you don't screw your teacher.
Which she had done.
Ironically.
We forgot about that a little bit.
Ironically.
That was one of her confessions, that she had screwed her teacher.
But it was after it was after she graduated, not during.
Which is something the freaking teachers gossiped about in the bathroom while she was in there. Sad.
Yeah, degrading her. Well,
my girl Cora, she's got all the trauma. And you can tell it by the way that she asked Dean to tie her up while they were having sex. And he literally just...
He stopped. He pulled out and he's like, you need help.
I can't.
This can't...
No.
And that was his turning point where he was like, I'm not helping her.
This is causing more harm than good.
And then he ends up leaving. And she finally came to terms with she wanted to be with him. And the day...
that he leaves...
The day that she's like, I want to be with you, I want to tell everybody, he's like, I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. You need help, and you're not getting it from me. You asked me to fucking tie you up.
I know why he leaves. I kind of get it, but it broke me. Like, that's when I cried. The hardest.
Him leaving just shows you how strong of a man he is.
That was like the ultimate sacrifice. And then
yes.
I was glad they kept in touch, but it didn't seem like very much at all. The way he left the locket, bawling.
Again, what does she do? She attacks him because that's her defense. I'm going to attack you.
I was about to say, she takes her pain out in causing you pain.
Yeah.
Her defense mechanism is fucked up, but whatever.
She gives the locket back or throws it or whatever, pretty much saying that's worthless to her, that he never loved her, he never cared about her, or he wouldn't be leaving, and gives the locket back, and then she runs back for him. And what does he do? Leaves the locket with the note.
No. She goes to see her mom. And her mom opens her eyes that Dean has loved her this whole time, and she's known it. The chicken soup. The chicken soup.
When I was sick, I loved that soup. I started looking forward to it every day. That was Dean. Dean brought you soup every day.
Side note, have you ever had mono?
No.
It feels like you're on your deathbed. Like, I know why she was so sick for so long. And I bet that chicken soup, it healed her.
Chicken soup for the soul. He healed her soul. Didn't even know it. She didn't even know it. His soup was healing that soul.
Oh.
Too bad it got defected along the way. At the time.
We gotta find some humor in this somewhere.
Who knew the boy could cook? I mean, he was young at this time.
I was thinking, I'm like, where did he get that? How is he making that?
But, he sat there and he talked about his parents and the drama that his parents, like, they loved hard, but they fought hard. Like, they fought each other, and he was like, because of how hard they fought, he thought that his dad wasn't going to be the next day, and every day his dad was there, and they acted like it was, everything was fine. They'd have breakfast and eat together and talk and laugh, and then one day he wasn't. And then his mom just deteriorated.
That was so fucking sad. She just forgot.
She calls him the dad whenever he comes in, and he has to correct her.
But he says there's no way to forget a love like that until can't do anything but forget it. Like, whatever.
I can't remember.
However he says it, but like, she has to forget. Her brain just is deteriorating and forgetting. Ugh, so sad. This whole book is so depressing.
the whole book makes me just, it makes me want to be put on heart medication.
It makes me want to be put on antidepressants.
Antidepressants. This book is something else. It is so worth reading, but I will never read it again.
I will never recommend this to a friend. I would never.
No, I would definitely recommend it. I would recommend it, but I'd be like, look, I'm going to recommend this book, but I'm going to recommend you borrow it, or no, because I feel like this author is definitely worth buying. I feel like you should buy the book to never read again. Buy the book, read it once, never read it again, and just let it look pretty on the shelf because it's a beautiful book.
Is this the first Jennifer Hartmann book you've ever read?
Yes. Is all of her books like this? Because I know that the next book doesn't have that great of reviews as Still Beating this.
I know. Well,
Lotus, I think is what it's called.
This is my second Jennifer Hartmann book. I read Older, and it broke my heart.
What the fuck?
Until it didn't. Until it healed it back together. But, oh my gosh, she really knows how to write a sad story. Anyway, moving on. We need to mention Lily for calling out that bitch Mandy.
You go, Lily.
You go, girl. You go, girl.
Go, Lily.
Lily, my girl. She's probably my favorite side character.
I will give it to Lily too, though, because she calls Mandy out, but she also knows when to back up. She knows that Cora loves her sister and that they have a bond together, and she calls her out, but then she backpedals and she kind of grazes over. Like, hey, I'm bringing your attention to this. Stop focusing so much on...
I just want to mention that your sister, if it was her, she'd be all up in there. Also, do you remember that time you liked that guy and she went for that shit?
Well, that's different.
It's not.
It's not.
Especially if she knew.
She didn't know, like, I liked him. She just knew that I thought he was cute, or however she said it.
Mandy's a hoe. She also...
cheated on Dean?
Admits, during the ice cream scene, that she cheated on Dean.
Even though Dean never found out about it.
He never found out.
So she felt like this is just the universe. Like, she just set herself up for a failure. No, you being a self-absorbed bitch set yourself up for failure. Sorry, not sorry. But yes, I do. Lily was there. Lily had her back. Lily tried to open her eyes to the fact that Mandy was self-absorbed and wouldn't have thought twice to do that to her. And then she was like, okay, I brought to your attention. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to try to start anything between you and your sister, but I just want to bring your attention to it. And then that was it. And that's how a friend needs to be. Hey,
Lily also...
This is why. Let's go grab a drink.
Yeah. Lily, like you said, was her rock throughout this, other than Dean. She checked on her throughout. She got her out, even though she was a little too pushy with it. She got her out of the house. She tried to help. She went and sat in the house with her. She even encouraged her to invite Dean over.
What about that time when she knocks on the door and Cora answers and is like, I thought you were going out. I am.
Here's the wine.
Yeah.
Gonna have a headache tomorrow.
Brings the party to her because she knows that she needed her. That's a friend.
That is a friend.
Too bad you didn't have a sister, but at least you had Lily.
Exactly. The way Lily treats you is how your sister should have treated you, but she didn't.
Nope.
So, anything else you want to mention?
No, I don't want to. I'm done. This book is...
Well, we gotta talk about the ending.
I'm glad I vented all of it out because
I was feeling sick before this. Feeling a little better.
It was in such a gray state of mind after reading this book.
Clearly.
I
was a little. I'm in a little slumpy slope now with my book. I haven't started a new book, which is I usually go from one book to the other, and I haven't.
And we needed to discuss this book because
we were dying.
Usually we wait days to discuss the books, but I was like, we need to do this as soon as possible because I can't mentally continue.
No, I can't. I couldn't either. How'd you feel about the ending?
I was so happy with the ending that they got their happily ever after. I love the fact that they have not 2 but 4 dogs now,
and
they've got 2 kids that are just as conniving as they are with their shenanigans.
Yes.
I love it. And I also love the fact that they went to the beach and he proposed to her in the ocean. Like, I mean, I know that's before, but that made me happy.
We kept saying still
breathing.
Still breathing. She kept talking about being in the ocean and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, she's not breathing. You know, still breathing. No, it's still beating. Anyway, sorry.
Beating.
I loved how they were both in the coffee shop and they see each other and it's so awkward. He sees her tattoo. I have to jump back to that because
I forgot about tattoo. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, I forgot about that. I thought that was sentimental over the scars from her scratching herself.
And it was such an awkward reunion. And they're like, okay, bye. And then she's like, no, what the fuck am I doing? And she runs out the door and she's like, can we please start over?
Yeah, it's like, she's like, yes. Spill the coffee again?
Do you want me to spill the whipped cream again? No.
Oh, yeah, the puppuccinos.
We can skip past that.
Well, I love the fact that he left. I love that she grew and she healed and she is going to victim supports and she's got that support system around her.
She's got Tabitha as well.
She has those once a week visits with Tabitha and her baby, and I think is her name. Mm-hmm. I love that she healed without him because I feel like if both of them, if neither one of them healed, if they clung to each other, they would have never fully healed from the situation.
They both would have had that crutch on each other.
So I am glad that he left, only to come back and then get back together.
And then have babies and have all the freaking dogs.
Okay, so I also like the fact that Mandy and Reed got together. Happy for him. Go get him. Tiger, whatever. I'm gonna be conniving right now because
go for it.
They didn't mention Mandy and Reed having kids, but they have to. And Mandy made a comment saying, I thought I was going to be the one getting married and having kids. And I'm like, huh, bitch, 7 years later, you still ain't got no kids.
That is a little conniving.
I know. I feel really bad for saying it, but then I also feel like
you're self-absorbed bitch.
Yeah, I just, like, I don't like that. Like, I would, obviously Mandy wants kids. And maybe she does have kids, they just don't mention it. And that's a possibility, too. I don't want anybody to have kids and not be able to have them. So that's a very heartless thing to say. So I would never say that in person, like in real life to someone.
But she lives in a book.
But she's a fake character, so I feel okay about saying this. In real life, never would I ever feel that way towards anybody. But this character here, I can be a little bitch too, because I like her. So,
Oh, okay. Well, to wrap up, this has been fun-ish. Reading it was not fun.
No. One and done. One, done, that's it. 4-star, definitely read.
Don't read.
4-star read with medication. With support.
If we had not had each other, I don't know how I would have gotten over this.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, bitch.
Spice,
like a 2?
I said 2.5 for me, only because as beautiful as their scenes were together, I mentally could not get into it because I knew the trauma that those scenes were because of, and I couldn't get into it. I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful, and it should be like, ooh, hot, but I'm like,
I can't even digest this.
Yeah, I couldn't. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5 because they were beautiful.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Clearly, because we're laughing about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week we are reviewing. Next week we are reviewing Ryan Rule.
Okay, are we?
Are we not?
I don't know. What? I don't know if I can do it.
It's a good dark.
I feel like we just did dark. I feel like we should do fluffy.
This wasn't supposed to be this kind of dark. It was supposed to be... We didn't even read the back of the book.
We should have mentioned that.
Stupidly, we did not read the back of the book. Stupidly. We should have read the back of the book.
We should have put that in the very first part. Read the back of the book. I don't think the back of the book gave it justice either, though. Like, I don't feel like
I never go back and read. I was done with this book by the time it was over.
I feel like it probably didn't.
Ooh.
Like, I still haven't read it either, but I just feel like it
Well, what are we reviewing next week then?
3 options to read.
Next week, we're reviewing Ryan Rule. I know it's another dark. We didn't expect this to be dark.
Oh my gosh.
But Ryan Rule is the good kind of dark.
This will be my first time reading it.
This will be my second time reading it. It is a cliffhanger. We might have to read the next couple books. Your options for the podcast that comes out on January 17th are Wild Love by Elsie Silver, Wicked Air by Mila Kane, and Boys of Bradshaw High by Megan Brandy.
And we have until the 7th to comment.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for watching us.
Sorry
Bye.
if we depressed you.